So I just want to show you now how to do the final few rounds of the handles to complete your basket. And this will include the rounds that are going to be working into the chains that you've already set up. And then those final rounds using an alternative colour just to add that pop, just to finish off your basket. So I'm just going to work with a slightly smaller little swatch here just to show you the stitches that we're going to be using. So I'm just now finished round 3 and I'm going to begin doing round 4. So round 4 tells me to begin with chain 2, and up until now I've been using for this handle section treble stitches, but for this round we're going to be using a slightly shorter stitch. We're going to use the half treble. That's half treble in UK terminology, and it makes a slightly shorter stitch when we look at it. So I'm going to begin with working one half treble HTR into the base of the chain. So just as we have done already with a treble, you're going to do yarn on into the base of the chain and then yarn on again, and you will have your 3 loops over your hook. But now, instead of doing yarn on through 2 and then yarn on through 2, you're going to take the yarn on and go through all 3 in one go. So it's just a little bit of a shorter stitch and a little bit quicker to do. Let me do it once more. Yarn on into the next stitch, bring the yarn on again. You've got 3 loops on your hook, and then through all 3 in one go. One more time, and this is the stitch is going to be used throughout the whole of this round 4 and all the way through. So it's just a little bit of a shorter stitch when you look at it compared to the treble that we've been already using. So now I'm going to look at the chain, because I've reached the part in the pattern where it says when you reach the chain handle that we set up from the previous round, work half trebles into each of the chain. So I just want to look first of all at the chain stitches. You can see here that we've got these V's all the way up and over with the chain, and when I place the half treble, I want to place the hook underneath this leg. So I'm going to be going into here, so there's going to be a single leg below and into here, single leg here, single leg. So when I put my hook in, I just need to push it into the lowest part of the chain. So let me show you how to do that when we get here. So here we are, we're now at the chain here, and we're working half trebles again. So yarn on and then into the base of that chain, just need to ease the hook in, bring the yarn out, and then this is a half treble, so yarn on through all 3 in one go. So let me do that again, working across to the next chain, into the lowest part of that chain, underneath the crossing over leg of the stitch. Oops, I actually split that. I'm going to do that one again. The yarn's slightly split. Let me do it again. So there, that's better. So into the chain, yarn on and pull through, working across to the next one. So you can see each time, you can see where the V of the chain comes in, and I'm going below, so I'm going into this part of the chain. Yarn on into the chain, yarn on and through all the loops. Now for this little swatch I've got only 13, I've just put 13 chain to make my little handle, so I'm just going to work my way across so you can see how it looks. Again, each time just slowly working my way across, just keeping an eye on where I place the hook each time. I'll just do one more just to show you. And there we go, you can begin to see now how I'm building up those stitches on the handle. So you can see I've got this one thread bar going across the base, and then we've got the stitches going right across the top. So I'm going to keep going so that I have the whole handle is going to be made up of the stitches. I'll then go around the base of the basket position and then carry on the same on the other handle through the chain, and then I'll show you how to do the next round. So I've now completed round 4, and you can see how the handles are now in place, having worked that round of half trebles through the chain. And I'm now ready to work round 5 and add that pop of colour just to finish off the basket. So I'm going to bring in my bright colour, and I'm going to join with a standing double crochet stitch to begin this round. You can very easily start by doing a slip stitch and then chain 1, but I'll just show you again if you would like to try and do a standing double. So for this, all I do is I wrap the yarn twice around the hook, 1, 2, depending on how many stitches. I'm about to do a double, so I don't need many. And then I'm just going to go into where I have finished off into that corner, and I place the hook from the front to the back, and then pass across the working yarn to the back, and then yarn on, bring it forward, and you can see those wraps that I had over the hook are still being held. Then yarn on through 2, and that's my double done. Now I tend to hold on to the wraps just once more, just because it feels a little bit more secure. So I'm going to go now and work the round 5, and all it tells me to do is I have to work a DC or a double crochet into each stitch. So again, I'm going into the next stitch and bring the yarn through and yarn on through 2. Now I'm going to let go of that spare wrap and just tension in the yarn, and it's ready to go. So this round, I'm simply working a DC, that's UK terminology, into every stitch around. So I'm just going to go straight on over the top of the handle stitches. So this is quite an easy round, all the way across, keeping the tension nice and even. And work all the way back to the beginning. And I'll then show you the final round just to finish off your basket. So I've now completed the final round doing the double crochet DC stitches, and just as a finishing off round, this is optional, but I think it just gives it another a little bit more firm, the final stitch, and a nice finishing touch is to work a round of slip stitches. So I've just worked my last DC into the top of the first stitch that I made, and I'm just now going to work simply slip stitches into every DC. So it's just working around. Let me just do a few more of those just to show you. So a slip stitch is very straightforward. It's just straight in, yarn on, and straight through. So you're not making any height now in the stitches, it's just finishing off that stitch. And if I just show you from the top, it just gives it a little bit more of a stitch effect for that. It makes it a little bit more robust, the top of the handle. So you will continue doing that all the way around, and then your handle will be finished and your basket will be done.